Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the individuals presenting. This is an incredibly important issue because these people are presumed innocent, but at the same time, we have to balance that with the interest of public safety as well. So I have a couple of questions. The first one, these are more substantive, but then I'm going to get into a procedural question. So sort of piggybacking off of Representative Ballman's question, do the RASs or the PSSs, do they take into consideration at any point in the pre-release of the existence of an ICE detainer?
No, because that's really not information that we're supposed to be privy to. We're running NCIC solely for the purposes of determining criminal history, and that's kind of our agreement with state police. So we don't, we can't get into that portion of it, and that is a greater level of scrutiny with NCIC because it is called. And I can't remember the exact word, but it's unverified. Typically, NCIC is not always accurate, so it's unverified. So we have different levels of scrutiny, and even though it might be available for a pretrial service specialist to read or a risk assessment specialist to read, we're not really authorized to communicate that because we're limited by our NCIC agreement.
Okay, and so beyond NCIC, suppose it's at the offense at hand. Is there anything under state law that is prohibiting you guys from taking into account defendant has been arrested this evening?
I think what there might be a confusion here is that we're talking about state courts. We don't have access to federal records or INS records to even indicate to us that someone would have an ICE hold. I have no access to any database that would give me any information about an individual having an ICE hold.
Certainly, and this more on the pre-release part, because I know that they tend to work within the jails with the police departments. I'm thinking about like in that present offense there, right? They commit that offense, ICE contacts that specific arresting department. I'm just wondering if there's anything under state law that's prohibitive of that type of coordination, of letting it be known, like department lets you guys know, hey, we just received this from DHS ICE.
So our pretrial services information is confidential by RCR 4.08. So we're really only authorized to tell the judges what we know. And then additionally, they don't inform us of that information. I don't even think the jail knows that there's necessarily, they might get a holder coming in, but that's not something that we're ever really privy to.
Okay.
In 30 years of practicing law and being 15 on the bench, I have not had an ICE detainer come up in a case once. Never had ICE notify on a case, never had somebody taken from ICE during a case. I understand that on a national scene, there's a lot of discussion about this right now, but this has not been an issue in our state courts.
All right. Thank you.
I will say, as a circuit judge, I've had ICE that when I first hit the bench, ICE would come to the courtroom and they would take them right from the courtroom. So I've had that experience, and then it changes over the years, different policies happen, but it has happened. And then they do coordinate with the jails, I think, to make sure that those are effectuated. So hopefully that helps. But I will say one little plug, if you could help us, the NCIC record, we judges, we're not allowed to touch it, hold it, feel it, unless a pretrial officer gives it to us. The state police will not authorize your circuit judges to have full access to it. So if I wanted to run my own NCIC record on a defendant, they won't let me do it. So if there's any way that you can assist the circuit judges and the district judges in that, I'd love that.
That's if FBI controls that, correct?
Yes.
Is that FBI?
I think that is correct. But
Okay,
if there's
so-
anything you can do for us.
The FBI controls that, correct?
Understood. And so on to
One
my
last question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to get into this in terms of, because right now we have about 100,000 individuals who were released in 2024. That's about 2% of the Kentucky population. It's not a small number who's going through the criminal justice system. But I was just curious, what is the breakdown on the offender level on this? Is that like how many of those are felonies?
We'll have to get back to you on that. I can look at that and follow up on that because I don't have I don't know it right off the tip of my hand. I will say that the majority is misdemeanors, and our felony cases are. It's probably This is just it's probably about 3 to 1. So probably about 25% are circuit court cases, maybe if even that. But we'll get you that data.
Thank you.